Prescott. I'm with the Basua group, Desi and John
Oh.
Paul.
Nice, awesome.
Yeah.
I think that I wonder if they won the drawing on Wednesday. They win the
They
drawing.
did. They did.
Nice.
Yeah.
You look
How
really
are you?
nice. You look really nice today.
Well, thank you. I'm heading out to a listing appointment when we're through with our meeting.
Well, good. Well, why don't we get you prepared for it?
Okay.
Put the final touches on the slide here. Let's see, what's it doing?
Am I the only one on right now?
No, there's another one on. And I'm waiting on Sunny.
I was just going to share with you real quick since it's just a couple of us, but formerly years ago, I worked for Realty Executives. I was an associate broker, had a business in Yuma, my hometown. But I cannot believe this program, KCN, KWNA. I am just amazed, you know, because back then, honestly, we did it, you know, sheer grit, and we did well, but we worked so hard, but we had none of this. I told my sister, I said, can you imagine what we would have done with this kind of education and training and support and marketing? She just retired. She was 35 years in the business. And I've shared with her, you know, what I'm learning as I'm going through 66 days and all. She just, are you kidding? It's night and day.
Hey man, I don't think I could have said it better. I've been doing this 40 years, and I think, you know, my office did the best they could. However, it was nothing like it is available today.
Yeah. Well, I'm very grateful. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm a small part of the KCN deal.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey,
How are
Glenda.
you? Well, I just got out of back surgery.
Yes, how are you doing? Is Kevin with
Man,
you?
I'll tell you, it's something else. It's quite an ordeal. I had spinal stenosis,
Oh,
and I had an infusion done where they put screws and bolts in your back. And it's hard to believe when you hear that. It sounds terrible, you know. But I'm coming back okay, just slowly. Yeah, I was in the hospital for what, six days and nights. Oh yeah. So I'm back on my feet and I'm raring to go. And Denny, just like Pamela here, Denny's a great teacher, and he does so many wonderful things that it helps everybody, you know.
Yes.
And Denny, we really appreciate you. We do.
Yes.
thank you. That's
Yeah.
really kind.
I like him better than anybody else. It's terrible.
All right, now I owe you
You have
money.
a fan.
I shouldn't know. I shouldn't build his head up too much here.
No, I know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's good to see you. And nice to meet you, Pamela. My name is Glenda. Yeah.
Glenda, it's so nice to meet you.
Same here.
Oh, and I hope you continue to feel better and better and better. It looks
Well,
like
I'm
we're almost
sure I
matching
will. I'm
today.
strong, and I have children that help me along the way.
Oh, that's a huge blessing.
2 boys and 2 girls, so it's great.
Nice. I'm happy you have that support.
And I have my buddy Kevin. Yeah.
Where's Kevin?
Well, he is he had to go to the store to do some deliveries for errands.
Hello.
So yeah. And he's
Hello,
gonna be
Denny.
coming on.
Oh, he's on. You on by your phone, Kevin?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Sure. There he is. Hey,
There he
speak
is.
of the devil.
Yeah.
My favorite thing to do all week is this.
Mine too. It really is mine too. I've got to get one thing and get ready to go. Give me 1 second. I don't know what to do with it. Come on, come on, come on. There we
I'm
go.
so sorry I missed last Friday. But I
Well,
was,
we're in a hospital. That's probably a
I
decent.
was stuck.
All right, here we go. Excited about talking to you. There's been some changes going on out there. Brian, how you doing, buddy?
In there somewhere.
Yeah, you might have stepped away. There we go. Sonny, any time now, Sonny.
It looks like we have another Sherry again. That's not really Sherry.
Yeah. Who was there? Who was that? James. You guys are so awesome. Here we go. I've got 1 minute.
Sorry, Denny, I dropped the phone.
It's making me coffee, Denny. Or more coffee.
There you go. Man, you look sharp today too, buddy. You going on a listing appointment or job interview? What are you doing?
Three today in the evening.
3 appointments?
Yep, listing appointments.
Well, I got Pamela is going on them too, and so we're gonna have to do some role plays. I'm gonna be a seller, and I'll give you one. You want one? Who wants some heavy lifting today?
Sure.
All right. Well, I've got almost. Let's see. I'll wait till exactly 1 o'clock. I will start on time and end on time, just like a good bold coach will do. Waiting for my lovely co-host, Sunny. And John is on vacation. He's in Europe, I think. And next Friday, the class will go on. I'm going to be in Paris, you guys. And if I can, I will log on.
Lucky thing.
So have a trip planned with my bride and a few other couples. We're going with John Maxwell. So that'll be a lot of fun. And it'll be great learning. Shoot, forgot that. All right, well, I've got 1 o'clock. You guys, thanks so much for being on. And here we go. We got another Sherry coming on. Sherry's a very popular name today. So welcome to Denny Grimes' Mastery of Real Estate. And welcome to a market some people have not seen in their whole entire lives. So basically, I'm going to give you a thought of the day if you're new, and there might be some new people here. What we love to practice here is kind of if you can make your screen available to see the my screen behind me, because I'm going to have some things you may want to make note of. And what we love to do is practice question-based or mastery level role plays using question-based listening enhanced conversations. The key on that is listening. And let me say this, you guys, as if you don't already know it. Listening right now is going to be more important than ever. And we had a great role play with our team this week, and it came out where normally when you hear an objection you've heard, and we've been working on some of these for over a year, when you have somebody talk about maybe what's happening with the marketplace, I just had the nano thought, and you can give me your blank if you want. I believe we have to be a tad more empathetic than if they're, oh, I'm interviewing other people, will you do it for a 1% less or whatever? If they have a fear of stepping into the market, I still want you to, to have the, the killer instinct and the focus, and certainly not be sympathetic. I just think when I listened to my team role play without the empathy, I thought, I didn't feel right. So as we go through this, you guys can think about it. And again, I'm not saying get in the mud and waller with them. I'm just saying, don't forget to give them a little bit of, I understand, a little bit more care and compassion. And if you haven't already, you guys, please go to my YouTube page, Denny Grimes, The Mastery of Real Estate, and like that. That'd be awesome. And I'd like to start by giving you the thought of the day. And I want to give you the thought of the day. And so here's my graphic. If you look behind me, it's time to paint up. Gary Keller said a couple of weeks ago, and I know there's agents here from other companies, which is awesome. Gary Keller is a pretty smart guy. He's been around a while, and he is kind of an opinion leader. And one thing I want you to understand when you think about shift, it isn't always, as a reminder, it isn't always market go to dust. A shift is a change. Buyers are hoping and praying. They're going to Vegas, and when though the over and under on it, going into a buy one, get one free type of situation. Most likely that's not going to be the case, although the market is changing. The thing that I want you guys to understand is that it really is going from a speed market to a skill market. And I'm preaching to the choir here, you guys, because you guys are on here. Most of you guys are regular, and so you are already building your skills. So it used to be speed, now it's skill. Gary Keller went on to say this. This quote I've never shared with you. I shared this one with you. That we're certainly in a shifting market now. And I don't think anybody would probably disagree with that. This is the part I did not share with you. There are only two markets. There's an up and down market. There's an easy and hard market. There's a peacetime and wartime market. This means our ability to survive and thrive is directly dependent on our ability to move from a peacetime agent to a wartime agent. So we have to paint up. And I know that basically when you go through drills and practices and whatever, you know, they're kind of like maybe half-hearted. Game on, guys. It's game on. And what's interesting, Gary had a mastermind. I'm going to share 3 quick points as my point, or as my thought of the day. Here's number 1. He says this. He said this in the Shift book that he wrote. If you've not heard of that book, it's Shift. It's one you probably should look for. It talks about the characteristics of a shift and how to thrive in a shift. And this is what he says, and it's true. Now is the opportunity to get our unfair share, because just when COVID hit back in the early part of 2020, a lot of real estate agents went to the couch out of fear. Well, there's going to be a lot of agents that don't understand really what's going on in the marketplace right now, and they won't know what to do. And so as they back off a little bit, in fact, in my farm area here, my daughter, who basically does most of the listing here, we've noticed all these XYZ agents we've never heard of before listing property, and the way they're getting the listings in the last 6 months or 3 months or whatever is they're taking anything at any commission. We've never heard of them before. Well, guess what? They won't know what to do when the market starts to shift. And if the sales drop and you maintain your same level of production, okay, just assume that you're actually growing market share percentage that you will not have to give up. So this is the opportunity. Something else he pointed out, get this, and this is no surprise if you're in Florida. There's 1 million people already, online, signed up for the online real estate licensure class. 1 million more agents getting ready to flood the market. So that'll be a lot of fun, won't it? So it won't matter to you because you're learning based, you'll get beyond it. Point number 2, when you get a lead, do whatever it takes to convert it. In other words, don't waste anything. In other words, be like my grandfather. When he passed away, you might have grandparents, or in Brian's case, probably great grandparents because you're so young. When he passed away, we had to clean out his house, and my grandfather, going through the Depression, collected string, little pieces of string, and he would tie them together and make a big ball out of it. You never know when you might need a piece of string, right? So when it comes to our leads, we had buyers by the dozen. We maybe had been a little bit sloppy. And if we didn't like the weather or we didn't like them, we might say, shoo. Gary's saying, do your best to convert the lead and don't waste the lead, because they won't be quite as plentiful. And number 3 is the number 1 thing that's going to lead to success right now is persistence. Now, that's not a new concept. It's just that we're not going to go out there and find $100 bills laying all over our yard and picking it up like manna. So does that make sense to you guys? So what I'd like to do is go into some conversations. We've got 2 agents getting ready to jack up today, Pamela and Bryant, with some listing presentations. So why don't we have some listing conversations? Can someone out there verbalize, come off mic, and if you can, be on camera if you want. That means if you're on camera, you can participate in a verbal exchange and maybe a role play. What might be a great objection we could hear from sellers right now on a listing presentation? And we'll let these guys role play it. Somebody throw one out for them. I'm not looking at the chat, so just speak up.
Um,
Denny.
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Shannon. Go ahead.
I had a seller just this morning actually almost want to delay putting their home on the market because of the increasing rates, which I thought was interesting.
That is a good one. Okay. And James, you had one?
Just getting past the sellers that are still stuck in the mold that it's a crazy hot market and their house is worth what they think it's worth, and they're not willing to adjust the prices. They want to leave them right where they are and wait for it to sell.
All right. Well, those are two great ones. So panel, I was talking to you first. I'm going to give you your choice. You're going on the listing presentation today, and your seller is going to give you one of those two objections. Which one do you want to do?
Let's do the unrealistic expectation in terms of price.
Unrealistic expectation. Okay, that's awesome. And so you're going to have an opportunity to James. Why don't you be that seller and let Pamela help you out. And again, you guys are doing this at the listing presentation at the table. And I'll see if I can't find a slide here real quick, but do follow the model of acknowledge, isolate, address, and close. So go ahead.
Hi, Pamela.
Hi, James. How are you? Glad we could meet today.
Me too. So what are we going to do about my house?
Well, we're gonna do as much today as you're willing. I'm glad I could be here. I want to go through it. We talked about you had said to me in our initial conversation you wanted me to just kind of go through today, let you know what I think you need to do or not do, to get your home ready. So it sounds like you're really thinking about getting going here on a listing, and so I want to do that.
The house is ready. I think it's worth 1.7. I mean, I've made my neighbors have sold for 1.8, 1.9 in the last few months.
Yeah.
I want at least 1.7. So
you do. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, tell me that information. I mean, wanting to price it at 1.7, does that come only from information you received from your neighbor, or have you done any other kind of research or looking into it?
I'll just kind of like Zillow and, Realtor.com and, see what my neighbors have sold for. So I think it's, it's a fair price.
Okay.
It's still a seller's market, right?
Definitely, I would say we are still in a seller's market. And I did bring some market data I want to share with you specifically to our area today in a little bit that I'll show you to kind of give you, hone that in a little more so you can see actually what's happening here with us and all of our neighbors. But so I understand the internet, there's a lot of good information out there, and that kind of helps, guide what we're thinking price wise and all. I hear what you're saying. So, and I'm sure that was exciting to you when you talked to your neighbor and heard how well they did. So
Yes, great.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, definitely. So other than that, that's kind of it sounds to me like that's where your information came from. Is that right? Did I hear you correct on that?
Yeah, I feel like that's enough background. I think it's priced right at that price. So yeah,
Okay.
I'm ready to go if you can sell it at that price.
All right. Well, would you be willing to, because I did some preliminary work, actually quite a bit of work on data, like I was referencing to you a minute ago, that I, brought that I'd like to show you. Would you be willing to take a look at that and look at some properties and see what data is telling us on things that are in your area, similar to your home, and looking at what's gone on maybe over the last 6 months, so we can consider what you think of that price after you view some of this and maybe see what the data is telling us.
You guys are at the table, so I mean, so let's just assume you've gone over the data. Let's see if we can't get into the meat of handling the objection.
Okay.
James, you want that number.
Right. Yeah, I've looked at all your data, but you know, I've also looked at Zillow and Realtor. Like I said, I've gone online. So
Okay,
yeah, 1.7 is that. I mean, that's what I need.
I hear you. So you're pretty set that that's what you need and that's where we're coming from.
Right.
Okay, so if we list at 1.7, would you be willing to stay in communication with me? And let's kind of revisit what's happening in terms of the activity. We list, maybe we give it 7 to 10 days. I mean, you're going to know when showings are happening and things like that. I'm going to give you input immediately, of course. But would you be willing, if we haven't, received any, valid offers or offers that aren't, acceptable to you, would
2
you be
seconds.
willing to revisit that in a few days? Maybe a week's time?
Well, when you say revisit it, like, what do you mean by revisit it?
Well, if the market tells us no, in terms of, we have no showings, no offers in the first week, that might give us an indication that the market's not really responding to that
All
price.
right, time.
Okay.
All right, so how'd you do, Pamela?
Well, I don't know. I'm a newbie here with KW, this system, so I'm very much still new and learning and practicing.
All right, so what could you have done differently?
Well, I think on the meetings I'm a little nervous. In person it's a little easier, but what could I have done differently? Well, do my research, my playbooks, be prepared for those kind of objections, be ready to meet them more readily with less words.
Okay, here's my feedback for everyone that was listening to Pamela. I thought I don't know, how many calls have you been on of our training? Because you're relatively new. I don't think you've been on a lot.
No, just a few. In fact, I'm out of town next week, and when I come back, that's when I'm really hitting everything hard. So I am very new with everything.
So you're using bits and pieces of what we've been practicing. So whatever you've listened to or you've heard other places, maybe just not for me, you're using some good material. Here's my feedback, and this is feedback for everyone, so it's okay. This is how we make better.
Right.
The more skilled you get, the less you talk.
Right.
Your questions are like long and you do a lot of explaining. So tighten that up. The other thing I noticed a couple different times, and this happens because just when you practice it more, get more comfortable with the conversation, when you only ask one question, and when you don't ask two, because sometimes when we ramble, we'll ask another question that
Right.
causes ambiguity. And it's like sending someone a text message and they don't respond, then you send them another text message. You're only going to get one answer. So only ask one question at a time and don't answer it.
Okay.
So, all right. So, Brian, I'm going to come to you on the other one. So let me just give you an example of how I would have probably handled that. And James, this would be very short. I'm not going to redo everything. So you want 1.7. And okay, so I'll pick it up from there. So at 1.7, if we agree to list your home at 1.7 today, are you willing to move forward with me?
Yeah, absolutely.
See, when you talk about the model, acknowledge, isolate, address, and close, that's the close part. Why keep talking if they're not willing to commit to you? If he said no, then okay, then I would want to dig into what else is holding you back. So you're not going to go to battle unless there's an opportunity for you to win the war. Okay, so he said yes, so that means I'm going to take the listing. Now I'm going to knuckle bump him. All right, awesome. Let's do it, because you know what? I've shown you the data points. I don't say comps. I've shown you the data points, and that is the other homes that have sold have been around there. However, have you seen what's gone on in the news lately?
Yeah, I mean, I see that we're heading toward a recession. So yeah, I see people are getting worried.
Yeah, okay, so we don't know how it may affect the market. So I'm all vested at 1.7. Here's my question, and we're going to do that. This is where you were trying to go, Pamela, and you got the 1 to 3 thing. I'm glad you well, 3 outcomes. I'm glad you brought up. This is how it would be done. What will you do, James, if the market says no to 1.7? That's succinctly right there. What will you do if the market says no?
I don't know. I'd have to see, how much time and, what would it take? I think that's a good price. So maybe give it a little bit of time.
Right, I get that. And so for me, and the way I would handle it, I wouldn't go into a lengthy week. I would just ask them the question, what are you going to do if the market says, no, I'm not going to? Because here's the reality, and I'm speaking to everyone. If a seller wants an unrealistic number, I don't care what the past sales say, you cannot say 100% that something lightning won't strike. So give them that benefit of the doubt as long as their number, not your number. Whatever you do, if you've been doing it in the past, do not be giving out numbers now, prices, because if this market shifts, just like we couldn't guess how high it was, we don't know if it's going to start going down. And I don't know if it's going to go down. So just make sure you keep your fingers off that. And then I would go into the one of the three things. So I'm not going to do that right now. We'll maybe get it a little bit later. I'm going to go into role play number 2. Bryant, you're going to be talking to a seller that wants to delay. And so I need somebody. Are you ready for it, Bryant? You're ready, right?
Yeah.
You're born ready. All right. So I need somebody who wants to be a seller who can be straight up, not a lay down, straight up, be fair, be bold. Anyone want to be the seller? You got the easy part.
I could be the seller.
All right, Yael. All right. So you're the seller. You're at the kitchen table, and then Brian says, "Okay, are you ready? Move forward." And you say what, Yael?
We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait because we're just worried what the market is. It just seems like it's unpredictable, and with the interest rates going up, we just, we want to see what happens next month.
I understand. It sounds like your time is valuable to you, right?
It has nothing to do with my time being valuable. It's about seeing what happens in a month from now.
Okay. So you waiting and watching the market is the only thing stopping you from putting your house on the market today?
Well, I just don't feel comfortable putting my house on the market with so much, volatility going on.
Okay. So Yael, I'm not sure how you pronounce that.
We given speech therapy? I'm joking.
So yeah. So let's so I mean, why is it that you invited me over here today?
Well, you're the oh God, I'm gonna be mean. Well, you're the one who called me and asked me if I wanted to sell my house. I didn't call you. We were thinking about it. So you said you had stuff to show, that you'd like to show me. So you can show me what we had talked about.
Okay. So yeah, what the previous market we dealt with, the seller's market.
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to compare that to the market that may be coming in the future?
No, I am telling you that I'm not ready to sell my house right now because I'm concerned about what's going on with the interest rates raised. And I'm curious, what you think my house is worth.
Okay. So we are all over the place, Denny.
Well, hang on. All right. So this can be very real. And here's why Brian is struggling, because it's shifting. And it's kind of like, you imagine an Uber driver and you tell them, I want to go to the bowling alley, and about 3 minutes into it said, no, I want to go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. However,
Yeah.
that's why that is, Brian, is you never did isolate.
He never addressed what I said, right?
That's you haven't isolated it yet. That's why, and I'm doing my best to get you into follow on the wall, which is right behind me. Isolate. You didn't get all the cards on the table. So go back to start over. You don't have to say everything. Just start over. And she wants to wait. I understand. Other than you wanted to wait, Yael, what else is holding you back?
Oh, well, should I wait for Brian to say?
No, just answer the bracket.
Other than the volatility, it's really what I'm going to actually get for my house and what the market's going to deliver for me.
Okay. And ultimately, what's important about making this move for you?
Wait a minute. Now, you still haven't isolated.
You just isolated.
You only isolated one. You got to keep going until they say there's nothing else. So she said volatility.
Okay,
And
so what's making you hesitant about the market volatility?
no, you gotta say, other than that, is there anything else holding you back, Yael?
Okay, other than that, what is holding you back from listing your house?
Well,
Yeah,
knowing what the value of my home is, that's holding me, that's something that I would want to know.
okay. And so
Is there
it sounds like
Are you okay? Am I being too hard?
No, it's fine. This is good learning because there's crazy sellers out there, right? So,
Denny,
so, so just so you get this, Brian, okay, so she said, how many things has she said?
a lot.
Well, I'm writing them down. That's the listening part. And I know you guys may not want to. However, if you're really talking to someone, you got to write them down because it'll be difficult to remember. I got volatility, what's the market going to do or deliver, and value of home. Now, all those could be tied together. I'm going to say, Yael, is there anything else that's holding you back?
Really, the transition is very stressful, and
Just say no. Because
no, I know I'm throwing that in because most sellers are very afraid of making that move. And I think that I want to watch Brian or whoever takes it on to address that.
Oh, Brian can handle it. Yeah, he's got me as a partner. So I'm his dad. He's the agent. He brought his dad along.
We have a crisis. Give me a sec. Take me over.
All right, so I'm going to be the seller. All right, Brian. So I did this whole stress of the move, and other than that, there's nothing that's holding me back.
Okay, so Denny, I mean, we're all over the place. I mean, so Denny, if we do wait and your market, the value of your home drops, what happens then?
Well, I guess, I mean, I'm not in a real rush to sell. And James, you're right. James put in the chat, when you get everything out, and again, it's a little bit hazy, before we start laying logic on the table, this may be where you're going, go to my motivation. Why am I having a conversation with you to begin with? You asked a great question. Why am I here? Well, we'd like to sell, but we don't have to sell. Ask me a couple questions on motivation.
So Denny, why is it that you would move?
Well, I think we can get a good number for our house, but we don't give it away. The market's been pretty strong, and we have an inkling we'd like to move to Florida, and so that's kind of what our plan is.
Okay, so it sounds like making the most amount of money for your home is important to you.
I didn't say that. I did not say that. Don't get frustrated with me. Come on.
Oh, well, y'all are, I mean, this is next level. Okay, so you making the most amount of money, which is what you said, because the market currently is important to you.
I said we could get a good number for our home. I never said making the most amount of money.
Okay, so
ask me why I'm going to Florida.
Why is it that you're going to Florida, Denny?
Well, my son is down there, and he's getting ready to have our first grandchild.
Okay, so moving closer to the family is important.
It is to my wife.
Okay, now, other than that, is anything else stopping you from moving to Florida?
I was just telling you why I'm moving. Now you're asking me what's stopping me from moving. So are you?
Yeah.
But well, it's a volatility of the market, and it's all. I mean, here's the deal. I don't think my wife and I are on the same page. I think the market's changing, and I think we lost the opportunity to get top dollar. I see all the bad news. I see interest rates, et cetera, and I don't think I can get as much for the house right now as I could have like 3 months ago. And I've been telling my wife we just should have sold, and she didn't listen. Typical. And so I just don't want to sell my house low.
Okay, and selling your house low, I guess the market volatility is really what's making you hesitant about selling.
I feel like I should have got out of the casino 3 months ago and I didn't.
Okay. And if you wait longer, do you think it'll get worse?
It might, but might get better too. Now we're getting somewhere. You're driving on the road now. So you're taking me to pain of the future. It might get worse.
Yeah.
So you're almost to the point where you can put a lasso around me and stick a fork in me.
Okay. So getting a good number for your home is important to you. And if we were to wait longer, wouldn't that cause the home value to drop because the buyer demand slows down?
Yeah, I mean, if the market goes down, it's going to go down. However, I feel like I missed my opportunity. I'm going to step out of role play right now. I think there's going to be some sellers that would get hesitant for a lot of reasons. So, you're on the way to close me. And so I guess the issue that he's going to ask me next is, okay, well, all right, so I'll give you 30 more seconds because you can finish this. Well, it may go down, but it might come up too.
Okay. And if the market tells you no at the price point you're wanting right now, do you think you won't get the number currently? I'm making too many words. If the market tells you no at your price point that you want to list your house, is that okay with you?
Well, I mean, if it tells me no, and then I'll just wait. I'll wait for the market to come back.
Okay. Well, then it seems like you. I mean, it seems like I don't want to sell. I mean, that's just I want to pull it out. Y'all aren't my clients. It's just not, definitely not y'all. I would walk out.
Denny,
Can I take over the agent role?
Well, I just want to ask right now, I don't mind. However, you're frustrated. Are you frustrated with me, Brian?
No, these conversations are very easy with me and clients. It's not this hard.
Oh, I guess
that's great. Denny.
Which you should have a crazy person every now and then. All right, y'all, I'll go.
Okay, so basically the issues that I'm hearing you say is that your concern with the future will be with the volatility. You'd like to know what the price point for your house is, and your, just the stress of the move is a lot for you. Did I get that right?
Those are all concerns. I'll just tell you the bottom line is I think I could have got more money 3 months ago, and I'm upset that I missed out on the market. And so now I'm going to pout and not sell.
I get it. I get it. I get it. So let's just say we're 3 months in, right? So do you want to still stay here in 3 months from now, or do you want to be in Florida in 3 months?
Well, if I'm happy moving whenever we get the right number for our house.
And what number is that?
It doesn't matter.
Say a number.
850.
850. So if I were to get you 850, would you be ready to move ahead with me?
Now that is a great close right there.
Well, I have it down from 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. If they have a concern about getting their number, then, well, what is your number? And she pressed me on it. I wasn't even going to answer. She pressed me on it. Nice job, 850. Then she closed me just like I did before. Now, I might be unrealistic. Let's see how you set me up. Yeah, if you want to list at 8 and get me 850, I'm your huckleberry, dude.
All right. And what if the market hypothetically said no to you? What would you do then? What would your next move be?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it will, but if it does, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it.
Okay, sign papers and move on, or keep going?
Well, I would sign the papers and go over the 3 outcomes. Now, who can do the 3 outcomes for me? You guys, awesome job. Awesome job.
Brian, that was so hard.
Brian must have just do his upfront conversations in such a way that she doesn't have people that are going so wishy-washy. So,
And I think he's straight, so he just attracts straight.
This
Like,
is
you know
gonna
what I'm
hurt on
saying?
a lot of people, what I found in this, the listening is so important. Because if you don't get it right, they're all messed up. Acknowledge, isolate, and address. This is so wonderful. And we all have to remember it. We don't all remember things, but it's very important.
Heat thermometer, yes. All right, well, thanks so much. So who's going to do, thanks, Glenda. Who can do the 3 outcomes really quick for me?
I'll give it a
Denny.
shot, Denny.
Yeah, okay, James, and who else spoke?
I did.
Go ahead, Denise, you got it? Go ahead.
Was that Denise?
Yes. Hi, Denny.
Hey, Denise, all right, 3 outcomes. So we're having the same conversation, you know, everything to do with the stock market says no, I don't know, I'll cross the bridge when it comes to it. Now, that's when you go to the 3 outcomes. What are they?
Okay, there were 3 outcomes when we sell a home, and here they are.
No, hang on. Not when you sell a home, when you
When
what?
we move, when we
No. It's
when we price.
when you list.
when we list.
There you go.
Okay. So Jenny, there were 3 outcomes when we list a home. And here they are. Do you want to run through what each of them says?
What do you tell me?
Okay, well, the bottom line is we want to fish. We want to put our bait, position our bait where the fish are. So in the first outcome, our bait is way too high to get to the fish. In that outcome, we either have no showings or a couple of showings and no offers, or a real low ball offer.
The low ball comes in outcome 2.
Oh, okay. Do you want to be positioned there?
Well, I guess it wouldn't be helpful to be there, right?
Right. So
What's outcome 2?
So the second outcome is we lower the price in order to attract more fish. And in that outcome, we're having some showings. We may get a low ball offer or 2, but we still don't have it sold. What do you think about that outcome?
And what's outcome 3?
And then the third outcome is we position our bait where all the fish are. And that's where we find that sweet spot where we're getting a lot of nibbles, we're getting showings, and we're going to now get competitive offers.
Okay. In a nutshell, that's it. You know, it's so nice job. And again, if you don't have the form, just let me know. You can have the form. This is the form behind me. Outcome number 1. You got, I mean, I know this probably better than I know my kid's birthday. Outcome 1 is low to no showings. Outcome 2 is showings and no, or maybe a low offer. Outcome number 3, it sells. That's it. That's all. That's as easy as it is to say. And I don't say pricing, I say positioning anyway. So any questions, anybody want to, anything, you know, these guys, we got some people going on a listing appointment today. Any other thing you want to cover on a potential seller right now from a seller objection that you might be facing or wonder how to handle?
Yeah, I'd love to hear, Denny. How do you handle it then? You say you let them pick the price. So like if they say, well, you're the agent, you know, what should we price it at?
Okay, I can do this in a quick second. Well, let me, I have a drawing. I've shown this before. Hang on. I don't know how well you'll see this. Can you see my chart?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's how the market works, Denise. There is a top market value, and we don't know where the top market value is until we expose it to the market. You guys understand that. That is such a key concept that I don't know if anyone else teaches it. However, I ask you guys, I'll ask agents all the time, do you disagree with that? I mean, I don't think you can. If you do, just put it in the chat. I'd love to have a conversation with you. So if we don't know where the market is, so we have to decide if we want to price it high and maybe come down, or price it low and leave money on the table. Now I've shown you the past sales, and all the past sales are down here somewhere. Now, all the past sales are between 650 and 750. What do you want for your home, Denise?
Well, Zillow said it's 850.
I got it. And so you can clearly see Zillow might be right. However, can you see it's above the past sales?
Mm-hmm.
And now where am I going to go, y'all, with that? You just did it.
Me?
Well, yeah. I mean, she wants 850. What are you going to do?
Okay, so if we can get you 850, that, yeah?
No,
Yes.
not if we.
What if the market says no?
No, no, notice what you said. If we can get you 850. No, 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 no. If we were going to, if we put it on the market at 850, are you ready to move with me today? See, you can't put your fingers on that. You can't say if we can get 850.
Oh,
Right.
So if I were to put your home on the market at 850 today, are you ready to move forward, Denise?
You bet.
I guess my whole concept is this. If, I don't think I have the slide here. I think I talked about it last week. As you know, you guys, if the market is going to change, it's only going to change because the buyers want it to change. You understand that, right? And so sellers still think it's moving forward, and they will think it's moving forward for weeks or months before they come to some realization that it's not. So is that so? So going to your question, now you kind of went sideways. Just make sure I answered. You want me? No, so press me, Denise. Well, that's why you're the expert. That's why. Where should I price it?
Yeah, well, I want 850, but you're the expert. You know, where should I price it?
Well, pretend like you didn't tell me the 850, because some sellers aren't going to give that card
Yeah.
up.
True.
So say, well, that's why I have you here. Well, here's the thing I can tell you. I can only show you what has happened. Is it your expectation that you want me to tell you what has not happened yet?
No.
And if an agent would come here and do that, they're lying or guessing. And I don't want a professional working with me that lies to me or guesses. Is that fair?
That is.
So why don't we just start with expectations?
Okay.
Will that work? I mean, I got Mark on, I got some very experienced agents here. I mean, why wouldn't that work? Any pushback on that?
why wouldn't what work?
That conversation, you don't have to give them a number. If I don't believe in a changing market, you can tell them what it's going to sell for and be 100% accurate. I bet you, I tell you what, I played Powerball before, and you get 6 numbers and maybe a bonus ball. I don't remember. I played there and I bought $10 with numbers, 10 lines, and had one number right out of 6 times 10, 60. I'm not a good guesser. And if they're asking you what the home is going to sell for in a changing market, you have to guess or lie. And the last year is proof that you did all your research and threw it in a supercomputer and took the past sales and multiplied it by 1,000, and it's sold for more than that.
I have a question.
Hang on one second. I'll come right to you. I'm not anybody have any pushback on that or challenge or like our bells going off? Now, if this market starts to fall, it'd be a different conversation. And the conversation, sure, I'll still list it at 850. And then James put in there the meat thermometer close, which is, hey, listen, I asked, in fact, I did a role play a minute ago. I said, well, have you seen what's going on in the news lately? Do you think that might have had some effect on buyers? So anyway, yeah, what's your question?
My question is, I mean, there's 22 people on this call. At every listing appointment, I typically give a range of, like, I tell them what I think their house is worth. So I guess my question is that something that I don't know, it's just, I guess I'm just not comfortable with adapting to this. So I'm just sharing that with you.
Well, if you tell them what it's worth, have you gone on a listing appointment and told them what it's worth and it sold for less ever?
I usually give a range.
Have you ever missed the range?
Of course.
Then you didn't know what it was worth either, did you?
So the thing is, okay, I have to process all this.
Denny,
Yep, Kevin, go.
I've got one very quick question. A minute ago, you said you either got to guess or you got to lie. In that framework, what is the difference between guessing and lying? Because it's the same thing. It just depends on whether you're optimistic or critical.
I think that, all right, so there was an agent in Phoenix that was on a listing presentation and he did his market analysis. It came in at $2 million. Actually, he's in California. I'm sorry, he used to be in Phoenix. Of course, it's $2 million. I think basically a one-bedroom single wide is $2 million in California. Anyway, he did the market analysis, and he said, sitting down on a listing presentation, he said 2 million is past sales. The market's going crazy. I think we can bump it by, maybe 5 or 10%. We can go to 2.2. That is a guess. Versus having no flipping idea, no research, no rationale, and given and pulling a wagon a number out of the air in order to get the listing. And I can get that for you, blah, blah, blah. When an agent starts saying, I can get this, I can get that, they're probably lying.
They
So-
believe their lie.
So what you're saying is that it has to do with intent, not with outcome.
Yeah, Kevin, if you don't mind, I get it. I don't know
Yeah.
that it really matters here, but anyway, so can we go, anybody else, can we go to a buyer side right now? I think you're going to get, sellers are going to still be a little bit in denial and maybe a lot in denial. I think the buyers are going to have some serious conversations right now. So is anybody working with a buyer or getting ready to work with a buyer that is pushing back? Let's have a conversation about that objection that you may be dealing with. Because the objection buyers used to have is multiple offers gone in 15 minutes. I bet they're singing a different song right now. Sonny, you ready?
I'm here.
Awesome. So if anybody has a buyer objection, just put it in the chat real quick. Sonny, you've been working with our team. What kind of buyer objections are coming up?
They're scared of their increased payment. They think the market's going to go down. They think that they're going to have more homes to choose from if they just wait.
All right. So anyone want to handle that role play? Sonny can be the buyer. Who would like to handle that as an agent handling Sonny, who's got all those whacked out things? Anybody? Where's all of my brave souls?
How about Shannon?
Sonny, I'll do it. But I was typing, so I wasn't listening. What were your concerns? I'm sorry, Sonny. What were your
Okay.
concerns?
Well, why don't I just do, I'm just scared that when I buy the house,
Mm-hmm.
the market's going to crash and I should have just waited.
Sure. I understand that, Sonny. I get what you're saying. And how long have you been looking for a home? Okay. Let me back up. Actually, remind me, Sonny, are you a seller and a buyer, or are you renting right now?
Well, okay, wait a minute. That's a good question. However, what's the model?
Acknowledge.
You didn't isolate.
So, okay. So I want to isolate before I even verify if she's a seller.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a good question. The reason you do is once you start going and asking and having another conversation, most agents will forget to go back to
Okay.
that. So,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So I completely understand, Sonny. Other than that, is there any other reason, any other thing that is stopping you from buying a home now?
No, I don't know how long I'm going to stay in the home. And if it falls, I could be stuck.
Sure. Okay. Okay. And remind me, are you a seller, or do you have a home to sell, or are you renting currently?
No, I've been renting for, this actually happened yesterday, 7 years.
Okay. Okay. And is that a month-to-month rental, or are you in a lease for a certain amount of time?
I'm in a yearly lease. It just went up to $4,000 a month.
Oh, that's steep.
Mhm.
Okay.
But I feel like it's okay because, if I buy a home that I want for $4,000 a month and then I can't get out of it, I'm stuck.
Okay. So you mentioned you're thinking you would stay in the new home. Did I hear you say a couple of years?
Yeah, I don't want to stay. I don't think I want to stay in the home for more than 3 years.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to get stuck. Give me just a second. This is a tough one. All right. So you're in a year rent at $4,000 a month, and you've talked with the lender, correct? And do
all
you
that's
know,
not, all of that, I mean, it's just conversation. It's not really germane to get into the heart of the matter.
Okay.
Now you're getting in all kinds. See, what we'll do
Well,
when, wait, hang on.
I was-
Hang on a second. What we'll do when we're unsure of where to go, we'll just ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
The first question was good. Do you own or do you rent? So
Okay.
he's renting, right?
Yeah. So
Now-
in my mind, where I was going with that was difference in payment and trying to get into, you know, paying ourselves, building some equity over the next 3 years.
Well, hang on. There's a model we follow on that, so I can find it. However, let me ask you, Shannon, would you please articulate for the crowd, what is her objection?
Her objection is that she's concerned that she's going to be upside down. She only wants to stay in the home for 3 years, and she's concerned she's going to be upside down and not be able to get out of the home.
Okay.
I think her objection that, is it worth it to buy if she's only planning on staying there for 3 years? That's what I heard.
And do you know why she's even considering buying?
Ooh, I did not go there. Okay. All
That's
right.
motivation.
Yeah.
That's motivation, you guys, is the picture. When you got the jigsaw puzzle, the motivation is the picture you're trying attempt to follow. So
Okay.
so ask that question.
So Sonny, remind me, why are you thinking about buying right now in the first place?
I'm just nervous about how much my rent went up. It almost doubled.
Sure. Okay. So you're concerned it's going to go up again in another 12 months. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So, I always want to go into education. And there's probably a good chance rent will go up. You know, we're seeing it increase as well. So I'm stuck. This is where I get stuck.
Who can help her? Phone a friend.
I will.
Phone a friend, phone a friend. Come
I'll
on,
jump
Dawn.
in. Do you want me do you want to get into the win or play not to lose? Are you familiar with that script?
That's fine. Take it wherever you want.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. When you're playing at this, do you want to win or do you play not to lose?
I play to win.
Right, you play to win. And what kind of chance right now? You just mentioned it went up to 4,000. What kind of chance in the future is your rent going to go up?
I'm not 100% sure because I was in the market 12 years ago and we were at really high rents then.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the market fell, the rents went down with the market.
Okay.
So I feel like we might go up until the market goes down.
Okay, I got it. So whether the rent goes up a little or down a little over the next year or two, Sonny, what are the odds that you're building any equity?
Zero, not renting.
Zero.
Mhm.
Right, right. And over time, over the history of real estate, Sonny, who's fared better in real estate? People that own real estate or people that rent it?
I guess over time, the people that bought it, that own
Right.
it. Mhm.
Yeah, 100% right. So, I mean, if you went to Vegas and you sat down at a slot machine and that sign said, you are guaranteed to lose, put your money in here, would you?
No.
No. And that's really what we're doing. We're renting. You don't know that the rent's going to go down. You don't know it's going to go up, but you do know you're not building any equity. So whether market goes up or down, would you still like to be in the market and at least get in the game and see if we can build some equity for you over the next couple of months?
I don't know if I want that. I have a lot of stability in rent right now. And I feel like I waited way too long. You know, maybe if I could look back and, 3 years ago bought or 2 years ago bought, now I feel like we're all the way at the top and I'm going to do what I did the last time I bought a house, which was I had to give it back to the bank.
Okay.
And by the way, Denny, this was a conversation I had yesterday with the buyer.
And that has happened to a lot of people, no question. I understand that.
You don't
So
have
if you
to
can go
send us-
back, if you could go back 3 years ago, you would have bought, right? Looking at your crystal ball 3 years ago,
Yeah.
right? And Sonny, you could be right again. The question I have for you is, what happens if you're wrong?
Okay, you're following the model perfectly. However, Don, the thing that probably there, you could have asked the question this way. Well, let me ask you, you've been renting there 7 years, right?
Yes.
And you say that when you buy, you're only going to be there 3 years. When you started renting 7 years ago, how long did you think you would be there?
Ooh. That's good. I didn't ask that. That's a really good question. I didn't ask that, so. yeah,
Because
no.
the hardest client really to deal with, if we want to be honest, hey, look, I'm coming down. I've got a job at Chico's. They want me to go down there and set up a new software system. I'm only going to be here 18 months. I'm on to another job. Would that not be a legitimate, maybe renter situation for you?
Mhm.
However, somebody who's been renting for 7 years, I'm only going to be there 3 years. I think that's another, Don, you did our model perfectly. However, sometimes I want you to pick up on the nuance that, well, what happens in 3 years? Well, you've been here 7 years. I mean, did you think you would only be here 3 years, 7 years ago? And then I would have started with that and then said, well, is it possible you could be wrong? That's how I would have just prefaced that.
Right. Is it possible you could be, maybe wrong's too strong a word, but is it possible that, that 3 years you think you're going to stay in this home, might you stay in the next home 5 or 6 before you know it? Is that a possibility?
It is.
Yeah. And what do you think will happen to your equity over the next 0 to 6 years?
I don't know. I have no
Well,
idea.
Well, whatever the market is, you'll be building some equity in that time, correct?
I don't know. I don't know if I will or not.
How about this one, Don? Hey, listen, if you had bought 7 years ago, or even 3 years ago, when you had the thought, and the home back then it was $250,000. That home now is worth maybe $500,000 or $600,000. Have you ever thought about how much equity that would have been for you?
Oh, that makes me sick thinking about it.
You see that you got to ask a question that invokes some emotion. That they left $350,000 or $350,000 of equity by waiting. How would you feel 3 years from now if the same thing happened? That's kind of how I would tie that in there.
And you would throw in the equity escalator analogy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you could. Yeah. Awesome.
What happens if that equity escalator is still going up 3 years from now? How are you going to feel?
Awesome.
Yeah, that actually makes, I think that would have been, yeah, that's good. That's good. Because she is petrified right now because she went through this before and she's so scared she's going to make the wrong decision. But if we asked her that question, like Denny just did, going back 7 years, that was powerful because it made me, I don't care what's going to happen like right now, but what happened in the past hurts, and I don't want that to happen again.
Let's end with an interest rate question. A buyer is now concerned about the
Can we
interest.
close, Denny, can we close that? Because we never closed it. Like, okay, everyone did good, but how are we saying, so are you ready to move forward?
Okay, Don, land the plane, baby.
Okay, so Sonny, if we can find the right home for you that will build some equity and give you some assurance that you're going to be okay despite what the market does, are you ready for us to move forward and get under contract on that home?
Are you guaranteeing me I'm going to get equity?
I can't guarantee anything, but I guarantee you this: you're going to gain more equity than you will if you continue renting. You ready to go
sorry,
forward?
I thought that's what you said. That's why I said that.
One thing I do want to point out, you guys, be careful. We've talked about equity. Equity is not emotion.
Mm-hmm.
It's more right brain, or I get the right. It's more logic, right? And going back to a comment I made in role play with my team, and I might have made it last year, is this: if you got a hesitant buyer, baby step them in. What you don't want a buyer to do is step out altogether. They don't have to make a commitment to buy. They need to make a commitment to look. So if that home was out there and, and you felt comfortable moving ahead, where you could have the extra room that you need for your office and build wealth for your family, would you want to move forward with it?
Yeah, that would be great.
The closeout could have been, hey, why don't we, well, okay, well, awesome. So why don't we let's just make sure we're paying attention to what's going on and keep our, eyes open. Maybe that right home will come along. See, when they're in a position of fear and you want to get them to go and agree to get married, that may be too big a jump. Well, why don't we just go out on a date? And
Let's just step into the market.
Yes, you win. If you've got a buyer who's hesitant, you will win if you keep them looking. Now, again, looking doesn't mean you drive and show them homes every Sunday. You could be having conversations with them. And over time, maybe confidence will build up. And always, 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 when you hear that 6% interest rate, 6.25, Gary Keller says it's going to go to 7 and 8. Over time, things will settle down, and maybe they don't go back to 3.5% interest rates. Maybe we can never wear the same pants we wore in high school. We'll just have to look the best we can, right? I know, Don, you probably do. You probably do. So did anyone have, y'all did, that was great. Yeah, that was great, you guys. Anybody have an aha today? Anyone learn something? Share it with everybody.
Yeah, I learned that just the questions. Oh, I like this one. Is it your expectation for me to say what hasn't happened yet? So I like that. And then the chart with the pricing analogy was good. And everyone was awesome, you guys. You were all great today.
Brian, are you still on?
We scared him away.
He's hanging up.
Yeah. Wait, yeah. Oh my gosh, say your name.
Okay, speech therapy for the group. I'm joking.
Yael. You
Okay,
scared
no,
him.
wrong. It's Yael.
Yael.
And then the letter L, like the ABC.
Yael, you scared him.
I'm sorry, I'm such a toughie.
Hey,
Can I
Denny,
just say
Yeah.
something?
I absolutely love that, if an agent tells you an exact price, he's either lying or guessing. That is perfect, because I see so many agents that spend months putting together the exact price before they go on a listing presentation. And your model is exactly right. They're guessing no matter what price they go in, and let the client set the price. Don't ever put your DNA on it.
I have
Well, there's
something
only
short
one
to
way.
say.
Thanks, James. Hang on. There's only
I'd like
one
to
way they
say-
can be right.
Whoops.
There's
When you
only,
get a lead, don't waste time on it.
yes.
Get moving on it. That's great. Thank you.
Great, Glenda. On James's point, there's only one way an agent can be right. When is it? It's too low. It's too low. It's the only way an agent can guarantee to be right. If he's below the line. And that would be another thing. Well, the only way they can guarantee you being right if they leave money on the table. So do you want to pocket more money, or you want the agent to be right? So you guys make me better. I appreciate you guys. Be careful out there. You guys.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, please?
I'm on overtime now. Go.
Okay, sure.
You're not shy, are you?
No, I'm not shy. Okay, I have a buyer. Buyer thinks that I'm supposed to, they're putting an offer on a house, and before they put the offer in on the house, they want to figure out how much work it needs. And they do that whole thought process with me, and it takes 45 minutes, and it's ridiculous because I have a headache from it. But how do I cut it short where it's like, would you want to buy the house with fixing up the kitchen? What if you couldn't fix up the kitchen? Would you still buy a house? What's your top number? And I'm on the phone with them, and I have no patience. So I want to know like your advice on that, because I don't want to be on the phone with the client while I have no patience for them.
I can only teach. I can only teach via role play. So you have to be that buyer.
Got it.
Tell me, what's your concern? Are we ready to move forward in this house or not?
Well, it needs 25 for this and 30,000. So if we're putting 100,000 in, then the highest I can offer is 815. So 815 is our highest number.
And what's it listed at?
775.
So, all right, so 815. And so is that your best number?
Well, if we didn't have to do work, we can offer 875 for the house, but because we need to put in 75,000, we could only offer 815.
I got it. So now are these cosmetic personal changes for you or structural improvements, whatever? You can't live in it because it has no roof.
Well, we can't live in the house without the kitchen.
Kevin, watch out. Got mute. What about the kitchen?
We can't move in with the kitchen and brown kitchen. I need a white kitchen.
So what you're asking me to do is you're asking me to ask the sellers to remodel the kitchen for you. Is that correct?
That's not what I said, but if I'm going to need to put in $75,000 and I can't pay more than 815 for the house.
I got it. But however, that's how the sellers are going to interpret it. So why don't we just call it like it is? And so in this marketplace, if you were a seller and you had somebody who didn't ask you to remodel the kitchen to their personal specifications, and you had somebody who did, which offer would be more attractive to you?
Well, the highest number that they can get. So, I mean, if someone's offering them 850, well, we can't offer 850 because we need a new kitchen.
Okay, well, I get it. So, and the word really isn't need. That's just what you want, correct?
Well, I can't move into a house with a kitchen that looks like that.
Totally understand. So I just want to understand, so we have a great communication. What you're saying is you don't really care if you own this house.
Well, this house has every single thing we need from all the homes we looked at. So we haven't found a better house that came up on the market yet.
Okay, well, I got it. So when the seller says no, what do you want to do next?
I guess we'll have to just keep looking.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll call the other agent right now and we'll save ourselves a lot of time and effort. And so you can get on to the next house and let's just get this one behind us.
What do you mean when you say that?
They're not going to get it. So if you have no chance of winning, why play the game?
Well, if our offer's in writing, then don't we have a better shot putting it in writing?
So if you were the seller of the property and you had a ridiculous offer and it had two ridiculous offers, one and the same thing, one was in writing, the other ridiculous offer was verbal, which one would you take?
Neither.
So what am I saying? So the seller's going to say no to ridiculous, whether it's in verbal or in writing. Can you have that direct? You guys, can you be direct with them without being rude?
No, I can't be so direct because I'm afraid they'll hate me and fire me.
Okay, then be indirect and waste a lot of time.
Yep. Seems
All right.
so far. Thanks, Denny.
Bye, guys. Love you, mean it.
Bye.
Thank you.